chance to move into first place in the NFC East. So far, Dak looks like he has no sign of rust between his ankle and shoulder injuries, and the defense seems improved under new defensive coordinator Dan Quinn. So, Shannon, this is important. Are the Cowboys better than you thought?
Be honest.
Skip, let me ask you, okay. No. So
No?
Not at all?
No. After last year, can you tell me what the Cowboys' record was after 2 games last year? They were 1-1. I can make a case they could be 0-2, just like they could have been last year, 0-2.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how much better they gotten defensively. They have 2 sacks. They're 31st in pass defense. They're 27th in total defense. So how much better have they gotten?
Is it my turn?
No.
Oh.
They've taken the ball away. They took the ball away 4 times, and they still lost on opening night. So how much better is this defense? Because you take the ball away. Now, I'll give them credit, Skip. That definitely aided their cause of winning this ball game on Sunday because they got a pick in the end zone. They got them in the red zone several times, and they came away with only 3 instead of 7s. So give them that. But it's not like they're just suffocating. They're not the 85 Bears. They're not the 2000 Ravens. Hell, they're not the 15 Broncos. So when I look at it, if you got 2 sacks, 2, is that good? No. And they got those this past weekend, right? Yes, okay. 31st in pass defense. Now, last I checked, there's only 32 teams. Now, maybe they added a team while I was asleep last night, and Jenny, we didn't get the memo. But if I'm not mistaken, there's still only 32 teams, and the Cowboys are 31st in pass defense. They're 27th in total defense. Again, there's only 32 teams. So that tells me there's only 5 teams worse than them. So you're the bottom of the barrel in pass defense and total defense, but somehow you've gotten better. What has they done in McCarthy? Has he done anything to make you think that he's a better coach? He's a great coach? No, that late game, you know it. Normally, when you make mistakes like what he made at the end of the game, it gets you beat. Still.
Or fired.
True. So for me, no, I don't see it. Like I said, they've done a great job of taking the ball away. And the thing about takeaways is kind of like touchdown, Skip. There are a couple of seasons I had 10 touchdowns, double-figure touchdowns in the season. And it was never like 3 or 4 games in a row where I got 1 touchdown. I would have like two or 3 games where I would have 5. Then I would have a lull when I didn't get any. And then I'd get 3. And the next thing you know, it's like, dang, they're in bunches. And so what they're doing is kind of like last year at the end of the year, Skip. They got none for such a long time. Now, all of a sudden, they started getting some late last year. The same Byron Jones, the play that Trayvon Diggs was made, Byron Jones knocks the ball down. Trayvon Diggs interception.
Thank you.
The ball's on the ground. Normally, sometimes the ball gets pushed out of bounds or one of their players dive on top of it. What they're doing now, any ball that's on the ground, Cowboys are falling on it. So they're getting these turnovers in bunches. But you know, Skip, sooner or later, they'll go 3 or 4 games where they don't get those turnovers. And then you'll see just how good they are if they not getting those turnovers. But I don't really see the difference because they're exactly where they were last year at the same time, 1-1, and they could have been easily 0-2.
Now it is my turn, finally. Shannon Sharp, I'm here to announce to you that I have really bad, sad news for you.
What is that?
My team is way better than even I thought it was going to be, and my team is going to haunt you all the rest of this season. You're going to have miserable Mondays after Mondays after Mondays because my team is shockingly better than it was 1 year ago. Let me count the ways. I start with the defense. I told you that Dan Quinn is the new coordinator on defense in place of that disastrous Mike Nolan last year. He's changed the spirit of the defense. The young players have changed the way they play defense. And I'm giving you huge credit for this. You called Micah Parsons before I did. I wanted Patrick Surtain, and he went to your Broncos, and I think he would have been a great pick for my Cowboys, but he wouldn't have been the best pick for my Cowboys because what we needed the most was what you saw early on pre-draft. Micah Parsons is a game wrecker. He can do so many things because he's got the gift of explosiveness.
Sudden.
A big man who is extremely sudden, and he just has that rare knack for smelling the football and getting to the football.
Right.
And in desperation, because they had lost both of their pass rushers, both of their defensive ends, going to the Chargers against a Justin Herbert who had lit up Washington, the team you think is going to win the NFC East, at Washington, opening day, 14 of 19 third down conversions by Justin Herbert. You love Justin Herbert. He throws rockets. Yeah. He managed to score 17 total points against my team because Micah Parsons said, okay, I got you. I'll put my hand in the dirt as I predicted he needed to on Friday's show. And he wrecked the game. He made it harder and harder as the game wore on for somebody to try to block him. And all of a sudden, my defense is hanging in ways it never hoped to hang in last year. Do you remember what was happening early last year? Cleveland went to Jerry World and ran roughshod over them for 307 yards rushing. They went to Baltimore a little later and gave up 294 rush yards. Arizona came to Dallas on a Monday night to Jerry World and ran for 261 yards.
Give us some time, Skip. You're only 2 games into the season. Give us some time.
Do you realize that in the first 2 games, Tampa ran for a grand total of 52 yards, and I'll give the Chargers this. They managed 95. Is that 307 or 294 or 261? We are worlds better than we were last year.
Well, let me ask you a question. How many yards did the Rams run against you? How many yards did the Falcons have when they rushed against you in the first 2 games? Give it some time. You 2 games into the season, and you talk
we're all different. No, Mike Nolan was a disaster. You know it, and I know it. They mutinied on Mike Nolan, and it wasn't until they got him out of there that great things started to happen.
Right. I will concede this, Skip. You seem, from what I saw Sunday, you seem to have figured it out that we're going to be a little bit more balanced. We're not going to throw it 58.
Okay, that's on offense.
Right. But so you're talking about overall. But this defense.
I love this defense because it's so much better than it was. And remember that they took the GOAT to the wire at Tampa Bay on opening night on a solo stage. They had to get goated to lose the game. They had to get goated. It took Brady doing what he does greater than anybody in the history of football. It took Tom Brady at his greatest to hold my team off 31-29.
Listen, in sports, there's wins and there's losses. That's why they keep
That
scoring.
was the greatest loss in the history of my franchise.
There are no moral victories in sports. That's why they keep the score.
This team needed a moral victory.
Because they're like, oh, no.
Okay, what's the most difficult opening day or night test in pro football? It would be at the defending champs, right? We went there and played them 50-50. Blow for blow. We went all the way to the buzzer. It required a walk-off field goal to beat us.
Think about this, Skip. Name the time you've ever heard, even the parents say, did you have a good time? The first thing out of their mouth when the kids play, did you win or did you lose? Fans, our team had a great time. We really enjoyed the game. No, what your friends ask you, did y'all win or did you lose?
Okay.
Because scores are important. There are no moral victories.
Did we crumble after our moral victory?
You lost.
No, we went all the way to the other coast without our 2 defensive ends, without our starting safety, without our starting defensive tackle. We went out there and held Justin Herbert to 17 points, and we won the game on a walk-off field goal. And my quarterback has taken it up another level. You saw Dak Prescott play his greatest game ever on opening night, head-to-head with the GOAT at Tampa. Well, I don't know what more he can do. He can't play much better than that.
Well, you can win.
He should have won.
Would you rather him play a little worse and win or play better and lose?
They were a 9-point dog there.
Skip, that only matters to the... You didn't bet. Okay. It only matters to the bettors.
I bet you.
That's okay. Right? And you lost.
Yeah, I did not lose.
I picked Tampa.
Okay, well, I picked Tampa also.
No,
I did. I picked Tampa.
And you over here, so what you patting the Cowboys to the back for?
All right, so the point is that all of a sudden, all through last week, they lost player after player to COVID, to injury, to suspension. And they sucked it up and went out there and won a game that you said they would get routed in.
So let me ask you a question. Was it more impressive what they did or what the Ravens did? Since you want to talk about all the losses that they've had.
The Ravens are perennial good to great.
Why not?
My team has missed the playoffs the last 2 years. We're not talking about the Ravens. We're talking about, are the Cowboys better?
No.
And the answer on a lie detector for you would be absolutely better than I thought.
Skip, all I can do is base it on 2 games.
Okay.
I can base it on 2 games.
Here's the most stunning, surprising stat I've heard in maybe years, especially concerning my my Cowboys. And that is, if you go back over the last 7 games last season and then add on the first 2 games this season, that's a 9-game span. That's more than half of a pro football season.
Okay.
Obviously, well, now it's 17. You could say it's right in the middle.
Okay, go ahead.
But the point is, over 9 games, they have led the National Football League in takeaways and turnover ratio. So they're not turning the ball over on offense, and they are getting turnovers on defense. They're leading the league in both categories over a 9-game span, and they've taken it right into this year.
I'm glad you mentioned that over 9-game span. Now, over that same 9-game span, can you tell me what their one-loss record is?
Well, it just doesn't matter because you can see what's happening.
Okay, hold on. So hold on.
Okay, we didn't have Dak last year.
Whoa.
I'm only talking about the defensive side of the ball.
Okay, but I'm saying, you keep saying.
We did win at Minnesota, and we did beat Philly at home and San Francisco at home, and we